If money is making you feel overwhelmed in any way right now, I need you to know this. You do not need to make six figures. You do not need to binge watch Dave Ramsey. Please don't do that. You do not need to resort to a get-rich-quick scheme. What you more than likely need is a plan. And I'm not talking about a vague,
I should probably save more
kind of plan. I'm talking about an actual 90-day reset. I think 90 days is long enough to create real change in your finances, but it's short enough that I know you'll actually be able to follow through. Today in this video, I'm walking you through a 90-day financial stability plan step by step. We are gonna break it down into 3 simple phases. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what to focus on each month in this 90-day plan, and you'll understand why financial security is best built one foundation at a time. If you're new here, my name is Lissa. I help women build wealth and reduce stress with money. Before we get into the tactical 3-phase plan, I want to talk about psychology for a second. When money starts to feel overwhelming for people and causes anxiety, their brain goes into threat mode. And when your brain is in threat mode, it usually does one of 3 things with money. It avoids, it leads to overspending, or it obsesses. And none of these 3 things help build stability. When you are feeling overwhelmed or feeling anxious with money, what you usually need is structure. This 90 days gives you that structure because it gives you a defined window where you're gonna be making improvements to your finances, and it's not too long where you're gonna just fall off. Let's start with month 1. Stabilize. The first 30 days are about one simple thing with your finances. Stop the bleeding. This is not the time you are going to jump into the stock market or try to figure out how to optimize your credit card points, because before you do all of that fun stuff, you have to focus on stabilizing. And if there's no bleeding to stop in your situation, then that's great. You're already ahead. Here's how to get stabilized. Step 1, know your baseline number for your expenses. Your baseline number is the minimum amount of money it costs to run your life for 1 month. Think your rent or your mortgage, your utilities, your groceries, your insurance, your minimums on your debt payments, and your transportation. This is not your lifestyle number. It's not your ballin' on a budget number. You can basically look at it like your survival number. Like if you had no income coming in, these are the bare necessities that you need that keep you safe and secure, whereas everything else, you can temporarily cut it out if you need to. If you've never calculated this baseline number, this is your first assignment in month 1. If you're interested, I do have a cash flow tracker that you can use for this purpose. The tracker is meant to look at all of your expenses, but for this exercise, you can use it just for your baseline. I'll drop the link in the description if that's something you're interested in. Step 2, in order to stabilize, you need to build or strengthen your emergency fund. An emergency fund is money that is set aside for unexpected expenses. Think of things like medical bills, car repairs if you require your car to go to work, any disruption to your job or your income, and maybe even unexpected family-related needs. The reason you want an emergency fund is that so you don't rely on taking on debt and falling deeper into a hole if unexpected things in life happen. And I'm not talking about unexpected things like cracking your cell phone and having to get a new one. These are true emergencies. If you have nothing saved at all yet for your emergency fund, set a starter goal, $1,000, $1,500. And then once you hit that, aim for 1 month's worth of baseline expenses to get started. Over time, most people should gradually work towards 3 to 6 months of core expenses. And in financial planning, that can be up to 9 or 12 months depending on your financial situation. Now just know that saving up this fund doesn't have to all happen in this 90-day plan. What I want you to do now is to kick off the process and set up a system that will help you get to that goal of building up your emergency buffer. Step number 3 on getting stabilized is getting current on everything. What I mean by getting current is Make sure that you don't have any missed bills or any accounts past due. If you do, make sure you understand what they are and come up with your game plan of how you're going to get caught up. This means in this month, you are going to stop ignoring statements. You are going to stop pushing things out and say that you're going to look at it later. You are going to gather all of the documents, all of the bills that you currently have, look at them, and come up with your plan of how you're going to get current. An interesting side story is I once worked with a client who made over 6 figures, but she still missed payments. And it turns out it wasn't because she didn't have the money. She actually had the cash flow to support paying everything on time. She just wasn't organized. She had some deeper things going on, which made her style with money avoidant. As much as I hear people talk about not making enough money, I don't deny that truth, but I also know that in many instances, the issue isn't just income. It really does come down to structure and organization, or I guess I should say the lack of it. So month 1 might not feel exciting, but stabilizing in this first month creates the ground that you can build upon. It focuses on building your foundation from the ground up. By the way, if you want this entire 90-day plan broken down into a simple checklist that you can follow step by step, don't worry, because I made one for you. This download outlines exactly what you should focus on in month 1, month 2, and month 3 so that you don't have to remember everything from this video. You can download it using the link below. Month 2. Automate. Now that you have stabilized, you've stopped any bleeding, you've started building up your foundations, now it's time to start removing decision fatigue. Month 2 is about setting up some systems that you can take beyond these 90 days. The reason you want to think about systems for your personal finances is because it takes away relying on you being disciplined or remembering everything. If you rely on having to remember every single due date, or if you have to rely on yourself to put money in savings or in an investment, there's a high likelihood that you will be inconsistent. On the flip side, when you automate, it just takes away the amount of time and energy you are spending on these things, and it makes them more likely to stay consistent. I could make a whole series of videos on ways to automate your finances, but let me cover just a few examples so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Example number 1. Pay yourself first. This is a favorite of mine. Paying yourself first means that money moves to savings and or investing immediately when you get new money, when income hits. To begin with, it doesn't even matter how much you pay yourself first. It could be 5% of your income, it could be $50. The point is, in month 2, don't overthink it. Just start this habit. For me, all it took was asking my employer to split up my direct deposit. I used to put everything into one checking account, and then I wanted to pay myself first into a savings account. So I opened up a high yield savings account, and then I set up that second direct deposit. I started with a small amount. It was definitely $50 or less. And then I just started committing to paying myself first every paycheck that $50. I barely noticed that money gone from my budget, so I eventually increased it. And slowly, that $50 per paycheck turned into almost $400 per paycheck. Not per month, but per paycheck. How much you're able to set aside is going to depend, obviously, on your current lifestyle, your income and your expenses, because you have to pay all of your bills and stay current. But for many people I've seen with financial coaching clients, the money is there. It just needs to be redirected and automated. So for me, I looked up and all of a sudden I had a fully funded emergency fund, and it didn't even feel like I forced it. That's how strong automation can be. For a second example of automation, automate your transfers. So like the example I just gave, if you set up paying yourself first through a direct deposit, that's great. If you don't do it that way, you can use an automatic transfer between your accounts. You can also set automatic retirement contributions, set automatic increases to your retirement contributions. You can set up automatic investing outside of your retirement accounts, so other investment accounts. And you can also set up automatic payments for certain bills or debt payments. As long as you've already stabilized and made sure you're current and that you have enough money in your checking account or whichever account you're using to make those payments. Last example for automation is create a simple rhythm for your money. What I mean by that is don't set everything up and then disappear and then never check on it again. A lot of times that happens to people who set up a new budgeting or tracking app. They pay for the app and then they never use it. What you need to do is build regular check-ins into your life to make sure you're keeping tabs of your finances. There are a lot of ways to swing this, so you'll have to figure out what works best for you. But for example, you could set time on your calendar for the first of every month to review all of your bills for the month. And then maybe set up a quicker check-in mid-month to make sure that everything is paid or gonna be paid on time. Another option that I like to recommend people is set up what's called a money date. So this could be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, but similarly, it is time set on your calendar where you are gonna sit down and take a look at your finances, work on things, improve, maybe even set up that time to watch money-related videos on YouTube. The goal is prioritizing your finances by making it a regular thing in your life, not overwhelming, but regular and consistent. On to month number 3. Optimize. Now that you've stabilized your finances, you've automated them, now's the time to optimize. What I mean by optimization is you are improving efficiency now that you've built your initial foundations. So let's talk about what you should do in month 3 to truly optimize your finances. Number 1, this is for those of you who carry debt. In month 3, you want to clarify what your strategy is for paying off your debt. If you have high interest debt, so that's typically anything above 7 to 10%, you want to prioritize paying that down aggressively. One effective method is focusing on one debt at a time. That means you make minimum payments on everything, but you aggressively pay down one specific debt. Depending on whether you choose the debt snowball method or debt avalanche method, that will determine which debt you attack first. Now, the key with making this strategy work is once that first debt is fully paid off, you are gonna take that payment and roll it over into the next one. If you have multiple debts and you need help creating your plan, I have a resource for that. I'll drop the link in the description for my debt payoff tracker. When you are optimizing, you want to strengthen your investing plan. If you are not investing money yet because you are still building your foundations, start simple. First, take this month to learn more about investing, especially if it's a totally new concept to you. Second, if you're employed, find out if you are already contributing to a retirement account or if you have one available to you. Now, if you are already investing consistently, what do you do in month 3? You can still use this time to optimize. Optimization for you might simply mean reviewing your current contributions or your asset allocation, or if you're unsure what direction to go, this month could be when you work with a financial professional to figure out if you're on track. Optimizing is making sure that you have a strategy, that your strategy is aligned with your life goals, and that you are consistently implementing that strategy with methods such as automation. Number 3, assess and understand your risk capacity. You might have heard of risk tolerance before. Risk tolerance has to do with how much risk you're willing to take. There's an emotional component behind it. How much risk do you feel comfortable taking? Risk capacity is slightly different because it is how much financial risk you can actually afford to take without jeopardizing your financial life. If you really want to optimize your finances in this 90 days, you want to understand what your risk capacity is. This is going to help you determine when you should start investing, what you should invest in, and how much you should be investing moving forward. And again, if you're unsure whether your financial strategy and your investments align with your situation, this phase of optimizing could be a good time to consult with a financial planner. I'm here to help everyone with their finances, but I primarily work with women. And when women tell me that they feel overwhelmed with money and money gives them anxiety, what they usually mean is simply, I don't feel in control. I don't know what to do. There's so many moving parts. And all I can tell you is that control doesn't come from making more money or binge watching every single video on personal finance on YouTube. It comes from taking small actions. Things like knowing your numbers, your expenses, building cash buffers like your emergency fund, automating systems like paying yourself first, and continuing to improve and optimize over time. I believe that in 90 days, in about 3 months, you can shift from being reactive with your money to instead directing your money, being the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer of your own financial life. If you're going to kick off this 90-day plan to get organized with your finances, write 90 days in the comments because I would love to hear from you. And again, if you're serious about it, I did create a checklist for you, so make sure you grab that in the description. If you're ready to strengthen your financial foundation even further, then make sure you watch my next video. Until next time, peace out.